It's happy hour again from Central City, New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. We're live at Casa Borrega. Casa Borrega is a restaurant, a bar, and a live music venue on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard in Central City, New Orleans. And happy hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans. And this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians sitting in a bar here at Casa Borrega. My special guest, this is a great show we have for you today. Sitting around the table here, my first guest on my left is Jneiro Jarel. And look who's here, the fabulous Lynn Drury just walked in. Jneiro Jarel is a recording artist, a producer, a composer, and a DJ who has been at it for over 24 years. Oh, you must have started when you were 2 or something. Yeah, look at you. You look so young.
Thank you.
Hey, Lynn, how's it going? Pull up a chair, sit down. I'll get to you in a moment. Lynn Drury is here as well. But
thank you so much. How you doing?
Hey, we're good. Let me just finish introducing you to Jneiro Jarel. Are you looking at him?
I'm looking
Take
at
a good look. Okay, there you go. Jneiro's produced projects for the last 24 years under pseudonyms like Dr. Who Dat, The Shape of Broad Minds, Capital Peoples, and others, and has worked with a wide range of artists, including Blur frontman Damon Albarn, Albarn's virtual band Gorillaz, TV on the radio Massive Attack, Beck, and Radiohead's Tom York. It's like a list of who's who in the music biz. Since 2004, Jneiro's released 12 albums. His most recent is a collaboration with hip-hop legend MF Doom, calling himself JJ Doom for this outing, called Key to the Cuffs, which is an interesting title, which we'll get to. Jneiro shared the stage with legends from Radiohead to Jay-Z. And here in New Orleans, Jneiro curates a monthly music and live art showcase called Viberian Experience at the New Freret Street Hangout, Gasa Gasa. It's great to have you. Welcome to Happy Hour. Also joining us, Veronica Russell is Artistic Director of Louisiana History Alive, a theatre company whose cast of actors are reenactors portraying such notable historical New Orleans figures as Marie Laveau, John James Audubon, Jean Lafitte, and many more who wander the streets of the French Quarter in character. Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen these people?
Walking the French Quarter?
Yeah. Have you seen that?
We do the quarter during the Christmas season, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a friend, I think, that does that.
Well, that's an interesting revelation right there. You have a friend.
Yeah. You think you have
Lynn,
a friend.
things are picking up all around.
But I have seen you guys.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thanks.
It is
really,
crazy,
it's
right?
Tons of fun. Yes.
Veronica plays the part of Storyville Madam Josie Arlington.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so she's tons of fun, too.
That must be a good character to play. In the world of more traditional theatre, Veronica's an award-winning actress who's been active in local theatre since 1996 and whose most recent notable performances last year were in Under Milkwood, Battle of Angels, and Venus and Furs. Mm-hmm. What's Venus and Furs about?
Venus and Fur, it's a play. It was very popular off-Broadway year before last. It was like the big breakthrough off-Broadway show in New York. And this year, last March, we did it at Southern Rep. Well, we did it at the CAC because Southern Rep was in various locations. And it's a 2-person play. It's about a playwright who has written a stage adaptation of the famous S&M novel Venus and Fur by Leopold von Sacher-Masoch. And he's auditioning...
You all knew about that, right? You knew about Leopold von what?
Masoch. Sacher-Masoch is where the word masochism comes from.
No, we did not know that.
It's a history lesson. And but this playwright has written this theatrical adaptation of this play, and he's trying to audition the female lead.
Why does the word masochism come from the sky? What did he do that was masochistic?
Well, he was like the Marquis de Sade in reverse, sort of. He just wrote this very seminal work on the subject. Well, it's a fictional work.
Masochism is the person who likes to hurt themselves.
No. He likes to have somebody else hurt them.
Someone else hurts you. Okay,
yes.
Is that right?
Well, they enjoy pain and subjugation and they enjoy being dominated.
Right.
Lynn.
A masochist. I say masochist, sadist. They like to hurt others. Mm-hmm. Right?
Is that how you figure it? That's how you remember it?
I remember it
that's
as
how I don't get confused.
That's my.
Why do you have to keep those two things?
Well, I think
separate?
it'd be
why
very
do you have
important to keep them straight.
Yeah, but why do you have to think of why does that come into your world at all?
It's always confused me. I'm like, which one is which? And that's the way I remember it. So.
Well,
you remember M because masochism begins with M, like me.
Me.
Are you a masochist, Lynn? You like to suffer?
Possibly. This conversation has taken an interesting turn.
Well, we haven't even introduced Lynn officially yet.
Considering the men that I've chosen to like,
right.
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you have a history of choosing men who hurt you.
Don't like me.
Don't.
Oh no.
How do you attract them?
Yes,
How?
I'm investigating this. I'm doing a lot
Right.
of mental clearing therapy.
Are
these
you in
days.
Scientology?
No,
Can I interest you
I don't think so.
in Scientology? Well, that's where I've heard the word clearing. That's what they do in Scientology.
Oh, really?
Yes, you get clear.
I don't know. Maybe these tapes someone sent me are.
Who sent them to you?
A good friend in New York just sent me a bunch of,
Tapes.
What-
I'm always working on trying to be
Trying to make yourself into a better person or
yeah,
happier person.
Yeah.
Well, what's the
Well,
basis of the tapes?
So a lot of them are just, like if you have a problem or an issue that keeps popping up in your mind, I mean, you're part of that. So if you think, this person is horrible to me, or you keep thinking about it, it's your energy that needs to let that go. So there's these methods of, you can just, inside your head, you can say, I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you to people while you're talking to them. And
Are you thinking that now when you're looking at
I
me?
could, it would make everything, and it's really
Wow.
powerful.
So you're looking at me, talking to me about something, and you're really thinking, I love you, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Please forgive me. It sort of covers all the bases that could be.
But you're putting yourself in the position of a victim right off by saying, forgive me. What am I have to forgive you for?
That was an issue, but I think if everyone were walking around saying I love you, the energy would just change.
Yes,
with-
if everyone was doing it, but that's not the problem. Problem is that you're the only person doing it.
It does put you at a slight disadvantage.
and another really powerful
Yeah.
technique that I just
These tapes were free, right?
they were free.
Okay, good. All right.
I
What's
think
the other part?
I think people have paid for them.
Yeah.
So if you have this problem with this person and you can't get it off your mind and you just want to be cleared of this obstacle in your brain, you can just you sort of meditate and you envision that person as this image in front of you, and you start talking to them, and you're just sort of curiously looking at them, and then you say, what do you want? And you say, you sort of just not in an anger or anything, and then you start scooping out your energy inside and feeding it to them until they're smiling. It's pretty crazy.
And this person is non-existent, though,
It's a
right? This is
visceral-
just in your imagination.
You're like,
So this is someone who's hurt you, say. Let's
Could
give him.
be.
Let's give him a name. Who was it? John, say.
not doing it.
Okay, John. Let's say it's John. There's a lot of
Moving
people
on.
called John.
Not doing it. But it was
Okay,
very,
so some guy hurt you. How did he hurt you? Say. Let's make that up. Broke your heart. Said he was in love with you and then ran off or something. Is that what happened?
we must go there. We want to go there. Okay. Well, no, just nothing. Like, you go away to Europe for a couple of weeks and you come back and you had started seeing someone, let's say.
Right.
And then you get back
And
from
so you went to
Europe.
Spain for a couple of
I
weeks
went
on
to Spain
tour.
for a
Say
couple of
you did.
weeks,
Say
and
someone
then
did that.
You come
Okay.
back and then they just don't ever, just nothing.
They don't want him.
Like, wonder what could happen. In 2
What
weeks.
What did happen?
I don't know. He would tell me.
It's because Kim Carson was on the show and she's someone that you sang with, right, for a
Yeah.
while. She told us the same story.
Wasn't
She's
the
a-
same guy.
Could be.
He could be this 2-week Lothario in Spain who's just waiting for musicians from New Orleans to pass through and be like, oh, it's gonna be good for 2 weeks, and then somebody else is gonna come and be fine.
But this guy was your real boyfriend before you left.
It was a connection that I enjoyed talking.
Right.
We'd talk for hours and then hang out, and was spending a lot of time together. And
So now you call him up and he doesn't return your phone call, he doesn't pick up,
I'm
or he
not
doesn't
call-
text you back or anything?
I'm not calling.
Well, what happened when you got
It was
back?
Thanksgiving and then my birthday when I got back from.
Well,
No,
happy birthday.
thank you.
Okay,
See,
so
he couldn't even do that.
you call him up and he doesn't talk to you. He won't pick up the phone.
He wouldn't say what had happened. So I
He
tried.
just said I don't want to do this anymore.
He never said anything. I still have no closure.
That's the worst.
Well, but Jneiro, what do you make of that as a guy?
He's just not that
As a
into you,
technique.
right?
He's just not there. What would you suggest?
Well, I mean, I would never do that, but I'm trying to put my getting this kind
Right.
of zone, I guess. Maybe it's a thing where, well, first of all, how did you meet him? I should ask.
I met him. I played an art gallery during Art for Art's Sake. And it was a friend's gallery, and it was really, really super, super hot that night. It was really super muggy. I was outside sweating, and he lives in the neighborhood.
So it started with a soak-through wet T-shirt.
Was it instant, like, connection, like passion kind of thing, or was it more of like
just we talked for 6 hours.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Six.
It's really cool. Yeah. Nonstop. I was like, oh my God. Gotta go.
Okay. So that's the next question, Doctor. What would you ask next?
Well,
Let's move.
It's quite interesting. We'll get on to the introduction in a minute.
well, what did he seem like the
I'm
type?
just glad it's not me.
Yeah, right.
You're next.
I don't. He's gonna maybe listen, and I.
Well, maybe maybe something will come of it. Maybe he'll have the courage to tell you.
Well, so I liked him. He was a professor of poetry and literature, and I thought, wow, how cool.
Not getting too specific.
At the college that I graduated from.
Where did you graduate from, actually?
University of Southern Mississippi.
Oh, really? So he was just happened to be visiting here.
No, he lives here.
He lives here and teaches at the University of Southern. So now we're narrowing it down. This is a professor of poetry, and did you say?
Giving him way too much credit.
He lives in New Orleans and teaches at the University of Southern Mississippi. If you don't know this guy by now, someone listening,
You can Google it. You
There's-
can totally Google it. You got plenty of nouns now that you can Google it.
he sounds interesting. Yeah. Is he otherwise? Are there any problems like married or anything
That's
like
what I
that?
was going to ask.
Dun,
No.
dun, dun.
Any
Doesn't have a
relationship?
family in Mississippi somewhere, wherever. Where is that college? Is it in
Starting to.
Oxford, Mississippi, or something?
No. There are two campuses, one in Hattiesburg and one in Long Beach.
Okay, I don't know either of those two.
There's a
places.
Long Beach in Mississippi.
Mississippi.
I had no idea.
You didn't know that?
No, the only one I know about is the one in California.
So
That's the only one I know.
does he have a place out there in Long Beach or somewhere as well?
Well, who knows?
Oh, we don't know. We never got that far.
We-
So this guy drives back
That's
and
where he
forward
keeps
every
his
day,
secret
no matter
family.
who this is. But that's a hell of a commute. Isn't it? That's a long drive, right? For a poet.
it's an hour and something.
Oh, that's all.
What, poets don't drive? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't know
That's
any
an
poets.
odd
This is the only
cognitive
guy I
leap.
know is a poet, actually. I'm looking forward to meeting this guy. Okay, so
I think Jack Kerouac would
turning
debate
red?
you on that.
well, there is that, of course. Okay, so you come back from Spain. So you went to Spain. Shall I introduce you formally like I do with everybody else? And they give me this little script, so why shouldn't I read it?
Is it good?
No.
It's probably better than what you've been put
Stop,
through.
stop me if it sucks. Lynn Drury is a New Orleans singer-songwriter who plays around town, across the country, and around the world, including Spain, apparently now. Lynn's most recent outings have included appearances at as disparate as a tour of Spain and a weekend afternoon gig in rural Alabama. Lynn's released 4 albums. Is that true?
6.
Lynn's released 6 albums, including her last and most impressive, Sugar on the Floor. That was a great album with all those people. That was the last time we talked to you, was on the show
Yep.
when you just finished making that, I think.
And I just made another one, so it'd be number 7.
Number
Lucky
7's coming up. It's called Come to My House.
Yes.
And it's actually, you can still contribute to that on, what's it called? PledgeMusic.com.
PledgeMusic.com.
For as little as $10, you can get a download. And I looked at it today. For $20, it says you can give $20 and Lynn will give you some bad advice. Now I see that's not a
She's
joke.
got these tapes.
I'll call you up. I could sing Happy Birthday or something.
That's what it actually says on this thing, though. If we give $20, you're going to call us up and give us bad advice. And now I believe it.
That's pretty
I thought it was a sort of a joke.
I believe it or not, a girl that sat on the plane with me a couple of years ago has found me. She now lives here. She was 18. She wants a mentor. I'm like, she's like, you just seem like really cool. Can we hang out? And I'm like,
Too much responsibility.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never had
Gotta love
kids,
that.
so you know, like.
How old is she
You
now?
gotta love
She's
that.
18
She's
now.
20.
She's 20 now. Does she have a job?
She's gotten a job as an art instructor here in New Orleans. So, yeah, I'm like, cool. Let's have coffee.
How old's the poet? How old is the poet? Is he an older guy or?
Exactly my age, which was really cool. But you know, I'm
Well,
not-
you think you'd think a poet would be in
That
touch
cannot
with
be
his feelings and
divulged.
be able to,
Express
if any of us
I'm
express
not
them.
going to
wouldn't you think?
divulge that information exactly.
So Lynn, you want to? Hey Lynn, you brought your guitar here. I see. That's a
I
good
did.
move. You want to play something?
Sure.
What do you think? Okay. And we're going to listen to some of Jneiro's music as well. And Veronica, can you sing?
No, I
What about doing a
sing a little
speech?
bit.
From, well, we have to talk about what it's like to play the part of a madam.
I can do that.
That's a really
fascinating.
fascinating.
Oh, it's tons
gig.
of fun. It's
Yeah.
tons of fun. Once you get past the
mind
weird
on
history nerd aspect of it, it's really one of the most interesting acting jobs. To act first person, unrehearsed, improvisationally with the public, and never break character.
Yeah.
And to have to be able to have these casual conversations. And because we don't go out and act like all afraid of planes and, oh my God, an automobile, you know, we don't do anything like that. I mean, Lord knows when Josie Arlington was around, she rode in automobiles. So you know,
What year was Josie Arlington around?
Josie Arlington, she was born in 65 and died in, she was born in 64, died in 1914.
She was born in 1865.
Oh, 1865, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I had to figure that.
That's reverse.
We do that, yeah. We do this weird shorthand, but it's interesting. You know, we get into that habit because that's what you would have said if you were born in the 19th century. You would have said, "Oh, back in '65," because
Right.
1965 wouldn't have happened yet, and 1765 is too far back to refer to. You know, so it's very interesting.
Where was she born?
West Bank.
Oh.
It was
She was born on the West Bank here in 1865.
Yep. It was called Mechanicsburg back then, but it's
Was it really?
It's Gretna now.
Gretna was called Mechanicsburg.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
We're learning a lot of things here. You know a lot of stuff.
We go to Toothday Sweet.
You wouldn't believe the minutia.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know who invented masochism until today either now. So now we know that.
We're learning a lot.
We're learning, yeah.
Gretna was called Mechanicsburg. And don't trust a poet from Mississippi. That's what I've learned so far. And we haven't even listened to it. Lynn, your guitar looks nice and beat up.
Yeah.
So what are you going to play?
The story of my life.
What is it? Beat up.
Beat up.
Aw. Last time we talked to you, you were looking for a Latin lover.
See, I think what might have happened, I went over and played with my ex in Italy.
No, it's gonna
I think there was some like total just
Did anything happen with your ex when you were in Italy?
no, and that's a long time ago. But
Right.
I think that
But you were looking for someone to take his place
I
last
think
time
he
we
thought,
spoke.
yeah.
Well, that must be someone who really likes
No
you.
one has taken, no one. I'm just hanging out. I'm trying to
Well,
play a lot of gigs. And,
right. Are you single and available then, in case anyone listening
I am
would like to meet you?
single. But I haven't really. Yeah, I got to get my mojo back.
Yes. Well, we're going to give it back to you.
When you go after people that reject you, it's like this familiar feeling that you
Oh, that's awful.
you get used to that feeling, and then it's the only thing you know, so it's familiar, so that's easy. So
The
you
feeling
don't
of
have to step
rejection.
out and do. You just write a song.
But I would say, well, there is that. But I would say that, if it makes you feel any better, that every relationship doesn't work out until it does. Like every
Right.
relationship comes to an end until you happen to be lucky enough to meet someone who it works out with. So, the search goes on, but it doesn't mean anything just because it's going on longer for you than you want it to, other than it's just going on still.
Yes.
Do you have
And-
a
and I
series
love
of tapes
you.
I could
Yes.
buy?
And I'm thinking I love you while I'm talking to you. Can you tell that?
I can tell.
But really, why are you? You seem to be a little bit in despair about this whole thing. Is you blaming yourself somehow?
Yes, I attracted that into my life, so I want to stop attracting people of that ilk.
Starting right now. And what ilk is that? Someone who doesn't appreciate you.
Right.
God damn it.
Hello.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty cool anyway.
We'll take a vote. Yes, we all agree. What are you going to play? What are you playing?
This is a brand new song that I just wrote, so it's a little rough around the edges, but we'll see. It's I don't know what it's called. I sort of it's about a lot of things. It's kind of sad. I hope that's okay.
It's okay.
always been good. Right in that fence between black and white. So don't make me choose between this life and you. On a 5-acre plot, love can survive. What's your word for freedom? What's that verse you sigh? What's the worst that could happen? In plain view, they stunted that coat up and down the road. The cars drive on past. So what are your words in big open pastures, and let them roam free? When it starts raining, bring 'em on in. What's your word for freedom? What's that verse that you sigh? What's the worst that could happen? So pick out your colors, keep 'em real close. When they start running and chasing the ghost, black, white, and silver, on your special day, soon it won't matter when we're all shades of gray. What's your word for freedom? What's that verse you sigh? What's the worst that could happen?
Wow. Lynn.
Very nice.
Lynn Drury. What's the worst that could happen?
Sort of, I don't know. I got really angry one night, and I felt like a token, all in 2 days, I felt like the token white girl and the token female on a panel sort of thing. So anyway, I
Does that
sort
sound-
of took that home, and I always have a horse theme in all of my songs.
Horse.
And it always comes back to the farm growing up, So I think there's just, yeah.
Does Jneiro, does that sound angry to you, that song?
No.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
sounds
sort
more-
of, you know, we do need. I guess we do need to talk. You know, we just need to talk to each other, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt used a bit, and I don't like that. And I could feel that. I felt empathetic too. Like, I know how that feels now. You know what I mean?
Is this not about the song about the guy again, or is it
No.
just about a whole different other
It's a whole other
suffering?
different-
What would you do if you were happy?
I had a song called that
What would you do if you were happy?
years ago. What
Yeah.
would you do if you were happy?
You seem, strangely, you seem sort of happy, doesn't
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
I write sad songs, I think, when I'm really depressed.
Work it out.
Yeah.
What do you do when you get to play the part of a madam? Does it take you out of yourself?
There's only so far I'm allowed to go, legally speaking.
Does it take you out of yourself, though, when you're...
It's very interesting. I mean, I think anytime you perform a character, if you're doing it fully, it's going to take you out of yourself a little bit. I think actors are notoriously uncomfortable with themselves, and that's why we all harbor this desire to be somebody else. One of the best things about doing a play or a movie that's scripted, the thing I love about it is it's incredibly liberating to go somewhere for 2 hours and knowing how that 2 hours is going to end up, because you don't get that in life.
Right.
Even if you're on the shit end of the stick, as they say, and like, I know how this is going to play out, and I can do this. You don't get that so much with the improvisational stuff that we do, but it does. It's like you have a certain imperviousness and a certain impunity in your behavior. With Josie Arlington in particular, so much of it's in the costume too. It's
What did
like
she
when
used
I
to
put
wear?
that
What do you
costume
wear?
on, it's about a 1906 day suit designed after one of the leading French design houses were the Caillou Sœurs. This is the Caillou sisters out of Paris. And it's a kind of a butterscotch day suit. People are kind of surprised that it looks very conservative, but we're talking about 1906. But there's a very extreme corset that goes with it and a giant hat, so it's flamboyant and conservative.
So
at
are
the
you
same
wearing a
time.
corset in this thing? You have to
Not
zip
right now,
yourself-
I'm not.
No,
Oh yeah, I wear about a 20-inch corset.
20-inch. What does that mean? Your waist ends up being...
Well, the corset itself is 20 inches. You don't ever lace a corset completely shut, but I'm about down to 22 when I wear the corset.
Wow.
And what's your normal waist size?
25 and a half,
So
almost
you're
26.
squeezing 3 to 4 inches of yourself
But
into...
that's not unusual. That's not unusual. I sold corsets for years and years, and you always buy a corset 4 to 6 inches smaller than you are. And I've sold corsets to women that were up to 10 inches smaller than they are. And the curvier you are and the softer you are, the more you can
Squeeze in.
It's
Squeeze
funny.
in.
It's funny you mentioned that. Me and my wife were just talking about corsets
awesome.
and getting one.
Yeah. And
Which one of you is going to get it?
Oh, come on.
I can
That's
make
a fair
arrangements
question.
for either of
Yeah.
you to get fitted. I know
Oh
people.
my lord.
But it's people kind of freak out about that, and I think because they think of the idea of wearing a belt or a waistband that's that much smaller than your waist, and that would be very uncomfortable. It's just this little strip around the middle. But corsets have about 26 pieces of vertical steel boning in them, and so it's the support goes all the way from the rib cage to the top of the hip. So it's really just kind of hugging you in. It's not like you have this tiny little
Right, it's
painful.
not-
Is it
Finding-
sucking you in like Spanx?
No, it's like Spanx made out of steel.
Wow.
So you is it uncomfortable as all hell?
No, actually, it's funny. I get more uncomfortable with shoes with a high heel than I do wearing a corset.
Okay.
But you have to get a corset that's fitted properly to you. You have to get one that's the right proportions for your body. You can buy the wrong shape of corset and end up with like
Right.
a bruise above your kidney if you're not careful.
Really?
But,
What is the wrong shape of corset? Aren't
It
they
really
all
depends.
hourglass type?
Well, it depends because different women have like
Oh,
long
you've gotta be
torso or
fit-
short
oh,
torso
right.
or a small rib cage or broad hips.
So for my wife,
Let's
what-
look
what's
at
a good
Indigo.
one for her? 'Cause
Let's
I'm-
measure her out. Look, she's
I was
unzipping
already
a
thinking about
Ah, wow.
Well, she's fairly proportionate, and she's not naturally an extreme shape.
Right.
So she could probably take a pretty wide range of styles, but she's not going to want a particularly long corset because she's not
Okay.
super tall through the torso.
How did you get onto the corset subject, you guys?
What do we? What?
How do you not?
How did that happen? Was it like? Oh, it was something I was watching last night on what channel was that?
Perhaps you shouldn't say.
Skin
No,
of
it was
Yeah.
what was it? I'm trying to remember. Was it like It was on Spike
On
TV.
Spike TV,
Oh, okay. It was a show about this people having sex, but they're like have different like accidents while having sex. Like one guy had a
The
stroke.
show about that. Wow. Nice.
Worst reality show ever. By the
What a
way.
great idea. Another great idea. Terrible things that happen during sex.
That's exactly
what
what the
a
show is about.
great concept for a
Because
show.
people are not having sex enough. Let's make them afraid of it.
There's another, that's a whole other subject. But first of all, so what are some of, do they reenact it?
They reenacted it. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yes,
fantastic.
yes, it was
So
quite
they
elaborate.
hired
here's-
actors for this.
Yes, there's the good
Yes.
news.
Lord.
The good news
Yes.
is you got the part. The bad news is you have to play the part of a guy having a
Yeah.
stroke while he's
Yeah.
fucking somebody. Wow, that's awesome. So what?
Oh,
so you're watching
died
this and
wearing
you
the
thought,
corset.
honey, you look good in one of those corsets, like the woman who got
I
her
know
back
this
broken.
chick died, but you wouldn't have to die.
Right. Well, no. So yes, a young lady had one on. I was like, oh, I kind of like those, and that's how it all came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's innocent, like it does, like on a regular Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about that show. Well, so what are some of the?
snuff film watching?
How did that happen?
Like you
We
do.
accidentally ended up on that.
Yeah, I know.
show.
That's how it happens on TV. I mean, no one sets out to watch a show
know,
called
nah.
"Terrible Things That Happen
No.
While I Fucked Your Sister" or anything like that. What were some of the things that happened? What actually were they?
Gosh. What can I say that? Well, this one guy ended up breaking himself.
His penis.
Yes. Yeah.
Busted off his penis.
I don't even have one of those, and I can still say ouch.
Yeah. It wasn't a good.
What
it wasn't
did
a
you?
good look.
Did they tell you how that happened? Had she been doing Pilates or something?
How did that? He was just
What?
too rough, and
That's
you
rough.
know,
Wow.
acting, yeah. Tried to,
Wow.
Yeah, and then there was another one when a guy broke his wrist while he was right? Wasn't that?
Not jerking off or anything.
That was a stroke.
That would be
Oh, sorry, that was a
enthusiastic.
stroke.
Yeah, that would be just while he was having sex with someone else, not himself.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but that was all. I only caught those two little parts. I know it went into other stuff, but yeah.
What a
Anyway.
great concept. But the weird thing about that show, not that I've seen it, but I guess they're true, are they, or are they not true?
They're supposed to be based on
So
true
somebody
stories.
has to tell you that happened to them.
It's
Why
the
would you want to
similar-
do that?
Yeah, it's similar to the show 100. What was it? 1,000 Ways to Die. Some show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I've
very similar to that.
I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
you
it's
know,
like
the
comical.
idea of why would you ever tell anyone that is the basis for all of the talk shows for the past 25 years. You know, I mean,
right.
I used to remember when Jerry Springer first got started. I'm
Yeah.
like, why would you go on television and tell the world this happened to you or your family or that this is? Why would you do that?
Everybody wants to be on TV at that
Quietly
point.
live in shame with it for the rest of your life. Don't put this on television.
That was before the internet, though, where that if you wanted any
know.
publicity, you had to get on TV. But now you
Kids
can make
today
it.
don't understand privacy.
No, no
You
way.
can make a video yourself at home. You don't have to go on TV and do that. But I guess they
I'm
still
just
do.
as dysfunctional as anybody on TV right now. That's right.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? You had something came to you
No,
about.
I was just thinking of another stupid thing that happened. Is one guy, he was like very overweight. What was it, like 400 pounds? Yeah, he was.
If you can get someone to have sex with you, you're 400 pounds.
Yeah,
Things
yeah,
are picking up.
That's what happened.
All over. Okay.
And I guess he got really into it, and she ended up. The girl that he was with, her head ended up through the wall, and she was unconscious. Yeah, yeah.
Did he stop then, or
Well, yeah, he was all nervous and
hope
like,
so.
yeah, like,
so they had to get a 400-pound actor to play that?
yeah, it was a. Yeah.
Do they have the real people on as well?
They did. He
Wow.
lost a lot of weight eventually, but yeah.
I gotta watch the show.
Yeah,
I gotta get.
so-
I don't know if I get Spike TV.
And then when she comes back too, he was like, "Are you okay?" Oh no. She's like, "What happened? Why you stop?"
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
That's
Because
the
it
kind
seemed as though it would have been in bad form to continue.
Yeah. So she's
Veronica,
on-
I've been wanting to ask you this question now for a good 5 minutes. Why did you used to sell corsets?
Oh, that was just my day job.
Where?
Trashy Diva.
Here in New Orleans.
Yeah, I did that for about 9 years.
You must have met some interesting people.
Oh, yeah, just retail, you know.
Were they all women?
The corset? Not entirely. I would say 98% of them, yeah.
So some of these guys who walk around town dressed up as women came in to buy corsets?
You know, it's funny. I got very few.
I'm hoping it is funny.
Well, no. I mean, it's not funny, It's just interesting. I got very few transvestite customers. There's this like this goth counterculture. There's like little goth boys who like to wear corsets too. So
Oh, yeah.
you know, I would get
That's
like
true.
these slim little pale guys that would come in and be like, oh, I want a black waist and shirt or whatever. You know. So and
Lynn.
again, different body types. So we had different styles that worked better for guys because your hip to waist ratio is different.
Interesting.
And I'm gonna
I
bring
like-
the math in there to make it super sexy.
I like pain. I need one.
They're good.
This brings us all the way back around to
Dun,
narcissist.
dun, dun.
So is it true, not to cut anybody off, but is it true that it reshapes like where your organs?
Not really.
Okay.
Because there was a phase that the phrase waist training became very popular because of the interwebs, I think. And, you know, people would be like, oh, well, I want to start waist training. And in order to actually physically change your body, you have to do one of three things. You either have to do like the Victorians did and start wearing a corset when you're 11 years old and simply wear it every day while you're still growing, in which case your body will grow into that shape. You have to commit to wearing, if you're already a grown adult, you have to really commit to wearing your corset every day, buying a corset that you can sleep into, because once
Sleep
your
in.
bones, once your bones are grown and set, it's very hard to reshape a completed rib cage.
Yeah.
And why would you want
I
to
know.
do
It's like, you know. And the third thing you can do, the only shortcut is if you start corseting right after you've had a baby. Your ribs soften up to allow for the expansion of the rib cage. So if you get fitted for a corset just as soon as you find out you're pregnant, have the baby, start corseting immediately, you can actually shape your body a little bit. But I mean, you can buy a corset 4 to 6 inches smaller than you and wear it when you feel like it, and leave it in the drawer when you don't feel like it. But if you start wearing them every day,
and feel fabulous.
I know.
On
But
those
if
days.
you do the hard way and you start wearing them every day and sleeping in them, you like your back muscles start to atrophy, because there's a whole lot of stuff that your back does that it won't be doing if it's immobilized in a corset, and you'll bend over to pick up a sock one day and throw your back out. So we were really kind of like, you know, you're not really going to waist train, but I'll give you an awesome corset that's going to make you feel awesome, and you're
Yeah.
going to wear it a lot at first, and then you're going to wear it less, but you're still going to love it, and that's all we need.
Well, back to Lynn's question, why do people want to do that? Because they have a body image problem?
I don't think it's a body image problem. Well, I mean, I guess I can't speak to everybody. I'm sure I had my share of customers that had body image problems. But there was an interesting study that was done exclusively with women's silhouettes. And this was a university study that was done a while back. And they showed different women's silhouettes to men of varying ethnicities and international, different cultures and whatever. And the universal silhouette that was considered the most attractive across the board by everybody was a certain waist to hip differential. It didn't have anything to do with big boobs. It didn't have anything to do with big legs or tall or short or whatever. It was the waist to hip curve.
That means that, a curve, not just a distance.
Well,
but
the difference between the waist and the hip size.
well, I'm just looking at my own waist to
So-
hip ratio here.
Well, guys
not
don't really
very
have
good. We're
much.
kinda-
No. Guys don't have much.
But you're talking about a couple of inches here.
You
As you
are,
should
but
be.
Yeah,
I think
right.
it was a 75% waist to hip ratio was considered ideal.
What does that mean, 75%?
That means your waist is 75% of your hip measurement. That if you have a 40-inch hip, then your waist should be 28, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to do the math in my head, but
So this is like the hourglass
it's kind of like
figure?
that 10-inch difference sort of thing. Yes.
So it's that hourglass
even-
shape, but
yes,
without the
but
boobs,
even
with the
a-
boobs cut off.
Yeah, well, they showed the whole silhouette, but even women with no boobs that had the waist to hip differential were considered widely more attractive in silhouette.
It's all about the butt.
Then that's what I say.
There it is.
Than
Gotta
a
have
woman with
that.
larger boobs that had no waist, distinction.
No good.
So, and that's what the corset is about. And a lot of women come in and they try on corsets and they want their boobs to look fabulous and they want their boobs to be big and they have an A cup and they want the corset to make it look like a D cup, and it's not about that. It's about taking the waist in. If you've got big boobs, they'll kind of hike them up and everything, but it's not going to give you something you don't have in that regard.
So wise up.
Because
If you can just get your waist to be skinnier, everyone will think you're hot.
They,
Right.
well, I don't know if everybody's going to think you're hot. I suppose
Well,
if
9 out
you're
of
an
10 men.
asshole, and I mean, that's
Well,
going to
you
come
find
out
that out
eventually.
later. But you know.
But that is kind of a universal benchmark of attractiveness for the female figure, is that waist to hip definition. And it's something that's very hard to get nowadays because we don't wear foundation garments anymore in that respect. Even into the 40s and 50s, women wore slimming foundation garments at the waist, even if they weren't wearing steel corsets.
So you would appear to have a great waist to hip ratio, but in fact you don't.
Well, if you wear them every day, if it's part of your daily wardrobe, your body's going to apportion its weight and fat in different places. If you
Well,
always
that's what
wear
you
a
were
little
just saying.
waspy
It
thing-
won't unless you wear it all night and all day. And
Well, yeah, but we're talking about
have a
like,
baby.
Yes, well, women in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s did wear foundation garments every day. They weren't wearing
Right.
steel bone corsets, but they wore stuff that shaped their figure. We don't do that anymore,
Okay.
So you grow into this shape, and some women would want a different shape, and that's what corsets do.
Do you wear one in your daily life other than playing the part of a
Not
madam?
well. I mean, sometimes when I go out, usually if I'm designing a costume for Mardi Gras or Halloween or whatever, it might have a corset in it. I don't wear them nearly as much as I did when I used to sell them. I used to wear them to work all the time, but
Hey, Jneiro, how did you end up living here in New Orleans?
Actually, my wife, she's her being an actress and everything. I know there's a healthy industry here for that, and to support her, because I can kind of live wherever I want doing music that I do. So kind of worked out for us.
So you came here for your wife?
Yeah, we were in Los Angeles, and the industry was just kind of, she got a lot of work at one time, then it kind of slowed down, and we just figured like let's just try another market, and
How long ago did you come here?
What was that? 2010. Yeah. Around
Well, you don't hear that very often. Most people come here for, because they're in the music business, and they come here to be in the music.
Right.
Where
Which
the music
worked out
comes
for me.
from.
Yeah. And it worked out for me in that way too.
I don't think have you ever heard of people? I mean, as an actress, Veronica, do people move here these days for acting?
well,
Is it common?
Some people.
I think
Yeah.
some. I
Yeah.
think the market is it's floating down here a little bit. There's still a little bit of a stigma attached, I find, to local performers as opposed to those who are from larger markets. And your wife's probably, because she's got the Los Angeles background, has a little leg up in that. But I mean, I've been in situations myself where they will put local performers much more through the ringer and audition you for roles that had just 3 or 4 lines, and then they'll end up bringing somebody in from LA to play that part. And it's like, wow.
I thought they liked to
That's
hire
true.
local
Very
because it's
true.
cheaper. there.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think it would be.
Yeah.
You don't have to fly them in, and it's certainly not for want of an experienced market down here, because there are a lot of very talented and experienced people, but Los Angeles producers tend to be very nervous about local talent for some reason. So, I mean, I've been on sets where I had 3 or 4 lines, and the other actress in the scene also had 3 or 4 lines, and I would have known at least a half a dozen local actors who could have admirably acquitted this role, given the fact that the scene ended up getting cut out of the movie anyway for time. And then it's like, oh, all of these other actresses were flown in from LA to play these bit parts. What is that about?
Right.
So
That is weird. Well, Jneiro, what do you think of the music scene here then, seeing you weren't coming to be a part of it at all, and now you assumedly are at least some part of it?
Yeah. Well, for me, I've always been a lover of jazz, so it was cool to like, wow, I'm gonna be in like the birthplace of jazz music, So
Had you been here before?
yeah, many years ago. I used to live in Houston, so a long time ago, like we would come up for Mardi Gras at the time, and so I kind of my experiences was very. How can I put it? Wasn't that great, only because I was young, and it was like there's a lot of knuckleheads, and had to deal with that element.
you went to Bourbon Street.
Yeah,
is what you're
that's
saying.
it.
Mardi
Just
Gras.
partying
Yeah.
it
There
up.
you go. She said it.
Well,
She
Mardi
said
Gras
it.
in New Orleans and Bourbon Street, that's not.
Yeah,
That's
you
not
know,
New
the
Orleans.
young knuckleheads trying to be cool, and
They all come from somewhere else.
Yeah, because we were from Houston. It was like, hey, dudes from Houston coming up here. Yeah, so they
Everybody on Bourbon Street is from Texas.
were- Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we end up.
Yeah,
going. So I didn't
well.
really experience like New Orleans like I wanted to, So now I had the proper chance to do that.
So what goes on at Gussa Gussa? What is the Viberian Experience that you're hosting?
Well, the Viberian Experience is basically the Viberian is a whole thing where I came up with, where it's like, I never felt like I was part of, like I did a lot of hip hop music at the time, and I still do, but I'm very diverse, but I felt like there was no home for what I did, because the type of hip hop I was doing wasn't like, going on at that time, so I didn't feel comfortable. I kind of felt like an outcast. So I called my thing, I didn't call it a genre, I just said it's the Viberian Experience. So a lot of my music have the title of like Viberian Twilight, Viberian Sun, you know, I just kind of went with that theme, and that just became my thing. And then when I got here, well, before I got here, when I was in LA, I wanted to do a night called Viberian Experience, but it just wasn't right. But when I got here, I like met all these cool musicians and open-minded people, creative people, and it was like, you know, and also like electronic producers that were very familiar with my sound too. So kind of like, I didn't have so much explaining to do, like about like the direction. So it was cool to see other people already going in a similar direction, but in their own way. And I was like, yeah, man, this is a perfect place to start. I think the Viberian Experience, you know, and we've been doing it, and it's been successful. And
we're at the very sort of hip, intelligent, complex end of this kind of electronic hip hop music. So it's interesting that it's found its way into all sorts of people's music. It's not like no one's accepted you.
Right.
You're super successful. But it's great to be able to do something live like that where you can go see it.
Yeah. Well,
so are you playing live on these shows?
Yeah. The last show we did, we had the orchestra, which is Monica McIntyre was on cello, and who else we had? We had T-Ray, the violinist. Oh yeah, Tara Reynolds. She was on violin.
Oh wow.
Oh, you're familiar with Tara? Yeah.
Yeah, me and Monica are in the Honey Pots together.
Oh, see, that's why you're
a small town.
Small. Yeah.
Let's take it. Listen.
Yeah,
You know, let's take a listen to something for people who aren't familiar with what we're talking about.
All right.
We've teed up this really short track. It's 1 minute and 29 seconds long.
Which one is it? The Sign?
The Sign.
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
Chris, let's take a listen to that. You get some idea what we're talking about.
Mr. Gone. I'm solid as a rock like Ashford and Simpson. Yeah. On that Bob Marley with my song of redemption. Yeah. Rescuing humble men from the world that we live in. Holding back tears of anger and fist clenching. Liking this to something far from this dimension. Like crashing comets and terrorize my fellow Russians. But ain't no fear, I'm here in the name of love. With a couple of beers in the cooler to get buzzed. Well, maybe later, not now. We keep it kosher. Going through the motions like oceans eroding and sculpting my words that's exploding. Unloading these clips, not those clips, but the ones from my lips. So don't trip. I come in peace while slave victims come in pieces. I release the slave of the beast and have them head out east. Sunrise, some dumb as a doorknob, and then some wise. Some ignore the signs that lie dead in their eye. But watch the laughter of those on the other side. Dead giveaways, so hide your kids, hide your wife. Ain't nobody got no time for that. So you the butt of the joke, cause you poor and black. See, and if you go loco, you will go viral. Hey, I'm on YouTube, congrats, it's a gyro. And a coke and a smirk. Now, get back to work, your 15 seconds of fame is down the drain. Truth hurts, I know.
But when you get a great groove like that, and it's so cool, and obviously it's a huge amount of work to make that.
Yeah.
It doesn't just come from nowhere. I mean, there's all sorts of things going on.
All original sounds, no samples either. Like,
really?
Yeah,
okay.
I take those sounds. I have sessions and make it happen.
Make 'em.
Yeah, one of the set, not this track, but Governor. I actually have Shannon Powell that plays with Preservation Hall on drums. Yeah, so he.
Let's
did
take a listen to that. I like Governor.
And that's MF Doom on the rhyme, and I'm on the production.
Catch a throat full from the fire vocal with ash and molten glass like I am Jneiro Jarel. The volcano out of Iceland, he'll conquer and destroy the rap world like the white man. Learned from a pro as a mentor, started with a bird nest and burnt it to a cinder. Gotta get the party kicking, plus your little charred body smelted like chicken. As the dollar continues to lose momentum, he need land for murdered Indians to represent them. Gold is up, urging all thugs, trading y'all change for cash and splurging on drugs. A more secure investment, food and water, a couple of gallons for your cutest daughter. And thank him as a Yankee fellow Southerner. Don't forget the general rank, hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Vocals spill over like the rolling hills of Dover or the Gulf, all disaster preferred and after. Depends on your status or your stature, whether you benefit from the prior or the latter. Get the fatter check split. And how much for 100,000 tons of correct shit? Sell a Chinese half-price seafood. Prices like a real nice street dude. Who can knock the most dead birds out the sky and then spread a lie and say you know why? Bet, get the machine, blame it on the fireworks, clean up. Y'all know where to send the wire jerks. Black teeth still snack on sweets and get stacks with the queep on queep. They used to sell CDs, now they got fake weed. Seeds burning trees is potpourri. Buyer beware, had to tell us one liar, sire be fair. At least I'm tired hair from the chair while I'm here. I hate play loving her, JJ for governor.
That's on the drum rolls. That's Shannon. Mm-hmm. And this song is Tom York's Song of the Year for 2012. So I was pretty excited about
Tom
that.
York from Radiohead. This is his favorite song.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah,
You can't do much better than that.
So, yeah, I was excited about that.
Hello, Governor.
Cool. Yeah.
That is cool. Who wrote the lyrics?
Doom, MF Doom. He's been around for a while. He used to be in a group called KMD back in '91. He was on Arsenio Hall show, like old school. Yeah.
He was on Arsenio?
Yeah. You remember? There's a group called Third Base from back then.
Yeah.
And they were a Jewish hip hop group, and he was down with them and everything. And yeah, they had a song on the Arsenio Hall show performing. So that was a big deal. It's cool.
And the video from that song was pretty famous for a while. Hello, Governor, too, because it's got that weird thing going. The background, it's like shot in a parking lot or a basement or something, and the background seems to be moving, and the person is like, it's freaky as hell. It's really great.
Yeah. The guy with the mask. That's Doom.
It's Doom. Does he wear that mask a lot?
Yeah.
All the time. I've never seen his face. I mean, that's what
nobody
he does.
has. Yeah, he's one of those kind of guys.
Oh,
really? Trippy. Yeah.
He wears like a sort of a metal,
like a gladiator.
Yeah.
You ever seen the Gladiator? Like that mask? Yeah.
Do you? I mean, when you're working with him, he takes it off. I assume you know what he looks like.
Rarely, yeah. I know what he looks like, but rare. Like
he wears that in a studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's like his.
Nice.
Yeah. He's a method.
Okay.
Method actor.
Method musician.
Yeah,
it's like
A lot of
Method
it's in
rapper.
the costume. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of it's in the costume.
It really that is that's a whole nother thing going on.
Yeah.
You know.
When he puts that on, he becomes Doom.
He becomes Doom.
Oh my goodness.
It's
that's
really
scary.
Yeah, it's interesting working with him. You know, a great guy. I love the guy. You know, the song Governor. I like the fact that like nowadays in rap, you don't really hear no one talking about like anything meaningful. Personally, I hate to say that, you know, but let's keep it real, you know. You know, he addresses a lot of things that people are scared to address, I feel. And I like that, you know, he brings light to certain things, you know.
Well, it's intellectually stimulating and interesting and challenging rather than just angry and complaining.
Right, exactly.
That's very interesting. And the same with your music as well. How did you guys hook up?
Well, I've been a fan of his since back then. You know what I mean? Since I was younger.
Since Arsenio. Did you tell him that I used to watch you when I was 3 years old on Arsenio? That always goes down well.
Yeah, he's actually the guy that inspired me without even really thinking about it and really think about it until I realized, like, well, I do sample Brazilian music. I did a lot of sampling of Brazilian music at one time, and it had a lot to do with his song called Peach Fuzz, where he sampled a Brazilian guitar riff, and it was really nice. And I was like, man, I love that. And that was the first time I ever heard it in hip-hop. So, you know, I just kind of was inspired by that and kind of ran off with it. And you see my name is Jneiro Jarel, so it really influenced a lot of myself. So to work with him, you know, it's really cool.
So you just got in touch with him and said, hey,
Yeah, well, funny thing is, how did it all happen? I met him at Winter Music Conference in Miami. He worked with a mutual friend, Madlib, which is from Oxnard, California. And they did an album together at that time. And I was like 2000, I want to say 2003, 2000. And, I talked to him. But me and him have mutual friends, actually, you know. And then when I sent him music, he really was into it. He became a fan of my music, which was cool. And, from there.
The interesting thing about you is that I guess you're in this circle of hip hop artists and producers, and everyone must know who you are, and you have an incredible reputation. But the public doesn't probably have a clue who you are. I mean, you've done all these things under so many different names.
I'm so below the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's all these different names that you've produced stuff under, like Doctor Who Dat. Did that come from anything from here?
Actually, believe it or not, it doesn't. I actually got that from being inspired by Doctor Who, the British television show.
Way to let your nerd flag fly.
Yeah, whatever. And I loved, like, I was really inspired by the intro music. It was all like synthesis and Bob Moog style.
What is that? Like strange that bass line?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. Something like that. I can't remember. It's like, one of those. I can't think of it now.
Like a theremin or something?
Yeah, something like that. But like really weird, and I always like was into that. I always had this little weird, quirky side to me, and I was like, yeah, that's really cool. So to put a little hip hop twist, I was like, yeah, Doctor Who Dat. It was like, I just kind of did that. But it's funny, like everybody says that.
Who Dat?
Yeah.
When was the first time you figured that out? When you came down here? Did you hear?
I didn't know that before I got here, and then when I got here, I was like,
really?
I couldn't believe I took all these pictures for my fans. It was like, whoa, you was supposed to be there. Like that's this is like your place.
You're meant to be.
Meant to be. Yeah,
That is great.
Meant to be. So
What a weird thing to happen
kind of
to you.
worked out.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, so that's how that came about.
that's good. Hey, so you think? Are you looking to be like an artist? Have you ever thought about being an artist rather than? How do you see yourself as an artist or a producer?
Artist.
An artist.
Yeah, because the way I started, I've been I've been making music forever. Like when I did the show in Tyler, Texas, way years ago. I was in a group and I was doing a rap, and I did produce the track. Me and my cousin, we all produced the track together. That's before everybody made a big deal about who produced what. Just kind of like we all got together, made a song.
Right.
Somebody's got to do it.
The credit is the band. Like nobody's like specific.
Yeah.
So I was one of the guys that helped out with the track. But like as time progressed, what happened was I was a rapper in the group and a singer, and I had other artists that were musicians. Lyricists, but none of us could produce, except for, at the time like we didn't have enough money. So what would happen is I would get tapes and like listen to like dub music or classic rock, whatever, jazz, and like loop it. And on a tape deck though, and count for a measure,
Wow.
And count 4 bars, pause it, rewind it, do it again to make a loop. And we made demos off of those things.
Cool.
So that's when I knew I had an ear for like choosing good pieces of music.
Yeah.
Then I just started taking a crack at just making melodies my own self, and it worked out.
Do you have any formal training at all? Music?
No, not at all. Well, I used to play the trombone, but that's nothing. I went to school to play horn.
Did you go to college or anything?
No, not really. I kind of did.
That's a yes or no question.
No.
Right?
I did, but it's not worth talking about.
Right. So you basically just started playing and everything took off from it.
Yeah, I just started playing and then, rapping, and I put out my first album with an official record label, 3-piece puzzle. That's me rapping, I produced it, I mixed it, I did everything. And that record did really well. I got a lot. That's what put me on the map as far as like people knowing what I was capable of doing.
So what would you tell kids today listening to this? Someone's listening to you because they're a fan of yours, and they want to get into the music business and they want to do what you've done. What would your advice be today?
Well, I gotta say, at the time, I didn't think about it as far as when I did the album, I did it on my own. I didn't have to pay for studio time. I actually bought the equipment and did it myself. But other than that, now you have the internet. I didn't have that at the time, at my disposal, And I feel like people should really take advantage of owning their masters and stop just just to get a name and just get famous, give away all their rights. I feel like that's played out,
Right.
So
it's an easy thing to say when you've learnt that lesson, but if someone's offering you $200,
that's true too.
And you've got nothing.
That's true too, because I would have never took the first deal that I have. I would neve do that now, of course.
Right.
It was really at that time. Well, it's a lot of money to some people, but it was $3,500. you know. which at the
$3,500,
time-
which is a lot of money
Yeah,
when you got
yeah,
nothing.
At the time,
and
it was like
you don't know you're any good at that
Right.
point. You thought,
I would have narrowed down. I would have made the album 10 songs. I gave him like 23. But yeah,
Holy moly.
I was just desperate to just like, I got all this.
But were they
music.
all like a minute and 25 seconds long?
No, I wish. The album was actually too long. It was over an hour or something. Yeah, it was like I just gave too much.
Oh.
But it worked out. You know, EMI ended up taking the publishing and yeah. Anyway.
so what's the lesson today? Is retain your rights
Retain
to
your
whatever
rights.
you've got.
Yeah, really,
Right.
it's really important. You know, the internet now, like it's easier to get to the fans than
Right.
before. You know, before you had to get, you know, on a record deal and have your stuff in the stores, and now people can just click a mouse and go,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, to
Now
your
you're-
website and
Yeah.
I
Okay,
really
listen,
encourage
you
that.
guys, we got with the hours up. We've got to get out of here. Lynn, have you got a really short song you can end with, or something? No, not too short. Something where we can end on, so we can hear you sing again. Doesn't have to be totally short.
We can fade out.
No, we don't want to fade out on you.
Get me out of this place. Can't see nothing, staring holes in the air. Try to tell me something you don't even know yourself. Been around some. This place takes your breath and it leaves you dry. Till there's nothing left but a touch, untouched. Tell me, how could I get on you? My mind is so sad. My mind is so sad. You tell me something real. Tell me, baby, how does this feel? You try to tell me something you don't even know yourself. I've been down some. Everybody's got a meeting upstairs, yeah. Everybody's got a day with the air, yeah. Tell me, are you scared? You scared? Tell me, how could I get on you? My mind is so sad. My mind is so sad. Tell me, how could I get on you? My mind is so sad now. My mind is so sad. But it was the last place I ever thought to look. It was the last chance I ever took. Took on love. The short version.
That was a nice way to end. The last chance I ever took on love.
I don't usually sing this early, so
That sounded great.
thank you.
Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. Lynn
Thank you
Drury,
for having me.
as well as Jneiro Jarel
It's good to be here.
and Veronica.
Yes.
You were going to tell us something before we left,
Oh,
Veronica Russell. You were going to tell us what we should know.
Well,
about?
we've got some upcoming events with Louisiana History Alive. We're starting a new program at the Shadow Box on the third Sunday of every month, starting in March.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be an open salon for audiences to come, and they can hear members of the company give talks in character. So you can hear John James Audubon perhaps give a talk about bird watching, or Josie Arlington is probably going to have a talk about patent medicine and substance abuse at the turn of the 20th century.
Should we be wearing a corset?
Yes, we'll be in character. We'll be in character, in costume, and there will be not only the people presenting, but there will be some other members of the company in attendance. So you'll be able to meet 3 or 4 members of the company, as well as listen to a discussion led by them. And then we're going to be doing Venus and Fur again in Lafayette in May.
Oh,
So
okay. And we have a link to your stuff on our website. It's
Yeah,
neworleans.com
I hope so. Great.
as
Yeah,
well.
it's LouisianaHistoryAlive.com.
Yeah, and then we have the Viberian Experience going on the 15th at Gaza. And, yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be a lot of electronic music with live musicians kind of thing going on.
And that's once a month at Gaza, the Viberian Experience.
Yep, so come check us out.
Yeah, we definitely will. And Lynn, you're all around town as well.
I'm going to be at Gaza on the 16th
cool.
with the
Come
Honey
on.
Pots.
All right.
We can sleep
The
over.
Honey Pots, so I'll be with Monica McIntyre and Margie Perez.
Okay.
Doing the trio. And then the 26th, I'll be at DBA with my band.
All right.
Cool.
So.
And we'll have a link to all your stuff on our
LynnDrury.com.
Very good. Thank you so much. That's Happy Hour for today. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director. Our theme song was written and is being played by Mitch Foreman. The fabulous audio quality of the show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. PreSonus makes some of the best audio recording and live sound products around, including Studio One music production software, Studio Live digital mixing consoles, Eris, studio monitors, and much more. You can visit presonus.com for more information about that. If you'd like to be on our show, you can stay upright for about an hour and drink a lot of these cocktails. Drop us a line. Our address is on our website. We can also find tons more happy hours to listen to, as well as other shows. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace. Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic. True to the Game with the fabulous Chris True and Tammy Nelson. Vietnola, our show about the New Orleans Vietnamese community with the Vietnamese Terry Gross Kim Vu. And Midnight Menu Plus One with Margot Moss and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canada. You can keep up with us on Facebook, on Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Stitcher, or some other podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment to rate and review us if you would. That does help other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Casa Borrega here on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard. Casa Borrega is a nightclub, a music venue, a restaurant, and a great bar where you can enjoy cocktails such as the ones we've been imbibing here. Check it out. They're also on Facebook and Twitter. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for It'sNewOrleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, who's actually off at the Grammys because his album The Moorings is a Grammy-nominated album.
Yeah.
So good luck to check out Andrew Duhon's album, The Moorings, and hopefully it's going to win a Grammy. For Andrew Duhon, everyone back at the INO office and around here at the table at Casa Borrega, I'm Grant Morris. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here next time on Happy Hour.
Hear that? That's the sweet sound of Minute Maid slushies at McDonald's, turning up your summer with every sip, slurp, and ah.
Get a small sweet peach, blue raspberry, or fruit punch slushie for just $2. Or get any size soft drink for $1. Price and participation may vary. Limited time only. Cannot be combined with combo meal.